Alright, CSS battle time. Okay. Hopefully I can do better on this one than I have in the, I don't know, the past week. It's not been a great week for me for this. Alright. I think... Yeah. I think what I can do is actually a conic gradient and then a linear gradient. I think. All in the HTML. So if I do a conic gradient, right, and I just make it blue square and then light blue, right, and I just position it down here with the @ right, so it doesn't repeat, and I give it borders to shrink in the blue part, that should work. And then what I can do is then do a linear gradient at a degree, you know, at that angle, and, you know, make it the blue, or the yellow, the dark blue, and then the blue, and it should be good. Let's see if I'm right. Because that's usually what happens. Alright, let's start with a conic gradient. And no, that was the wrong characters. Alright, we're gonna do first that one, the 25%, and then we're doing U and 0. So I haven't done this in a while, but with the gradients, when you make a gradient, you have the opportunity to provide color hints, and you're saying how far through the gradient you want that color to go. And so what happens is the first color, obviously it's starting at 0, so you don't need that first color hint, but you're saying you can put in 2 color hints, and so like this I could do 0 to 50%, right? And then if we put another color in, that color would start after the 50% point, right? So let's do that. Let's throw in the yellow and hit Control V there. So now it's doing a proper gradient after the 50% mark. But you see how the transition is gradual until it's finally totally yellow all the way over here. Now I can say where I want it to begin being yellow. Like if I say 60%, you see how we have much less of a blur path. We can say 70, 80, 90, right? So as long as it's past whatever this color stop is, that's where the solid color begins. And so for CSS battles, of course, we just say 0 to get the hard line where we want it, right? Does that make sense? 2 color stops, beginning of 0 of color solidness, and then ending of color solidness. So here we have the 0. If this was 26%, we have a tiny little bit of blur. But as soon as we go 25, if it's the same or less, it's going to start solid at that color at that point. So when we do 0, we get a solid color because it's trying to start at 0. But obviously we have the blue there, so you don't see it, but then you have a solid line with very few characters. That is how the gradients work, and that'll work for every gradient, right? 2 possible entries, beginning of color, end of color, and I don't need that 50% on this one. Okay, so now we can put our position in. We can use the @ syntax to say I want it to be down at this little bottom corner of the screen, right? So let's get some, what are we going to do? We're going to do like 50 pixels by 200 pixels, right? And so we're starting to see it come together. So it's going to be more like 80, 90, yeah, and 250, 260. Okay, so maybe we can translate that into viewport units. It's 40 short. What would that be out of 300? Okay, I don't know. I'll translate it later. but try to save a few characters that way. Alright, and then if we throw on a border, I wonder if that'll change its position. What is our size here? It'll probably change left to right. So we want about 40 pixels. 40 pixels, solid. And we're gonna do blue, right? There we go. Yep, so it did shift it over. So this will be 70, 60, oh, 40 pixels. Yeah. And, ooh. So it looks like, you know, we look over here, our line is running a bit long, right? Because our left-right borders are more than our top-bottom. What I can do is actually jump those up by a lot and then put in negative margin. Do a box shadow inset to cover it. Yeah, because just covering it from the one side is good, but box shadow is a long property to be writing just for that. I wonder if I can because I have the borders in, I wonder if I can margin it. Okay, we start getting that blue in a lot. Okay, so let's not use the margin unless I use negative margin. Alright, so I need to get this extra 40, it looks like. What are we at? 360 to 3, is it 50? Oh, okay, yeah, 360 to 320, yeah, 310. Oh, it is 50 pixels. So if we change this to 90, okay, that is pretty good, but we need to do negative margin. So our top and bottom and right, bottom, oh, bottom. So it's only the one side that I really need to change. There's got to be a better way. Alright, I'm going to check something again. So without borders, without margins, we can position the bottom two sides properly. We just need the top and the right. Maybe I do a box shadow inset. It's looking better than this stuff. Let's see. Let's move this stuff back out. 90, 260. Okay, that's good. Right? And so we're going to move negative 50 pixels and negative 20 pixels. 20 pixels. There we go. 40. And the color. Alright, that's a sight better. Right? I just need to do a little bit more on this side. Negative 50. 90? Yeah, there we go. Cool, that covered that side. And then we can do our linear gradient to finish this off. I think it should work. Once we position it. Yeah. We should be good. I might have to set a second color stop on that third color. Oh, unless I do transparent. No, I might have to set a distance on it so that it doesn't repeat too soon. It shouldn't repeat. Actually, it shouldn't repeat at all. So I think I'll be all right. Linear gradient. Now, we can do an at bottom left. I believe that's proper syntax. I don't think it has to be hyphenated. Okay. but, or at bottom left? No, no, no. It's, to top right. You can use, what is that, logical properties? Something like that. I believe that's right. Well, let's see if it even renders. Ooh, something's rendering. Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, so it's on top of our conic gradient, so I might have to flip this back round. And I have the whole wrong color. So let's change that out. There we go. That is the yellow. It's underneath. That's why. It's underneath our conic gradient. So let's get you. Control X. Control V. And a comma. Okay, there we go. It's showing up. Great. We are going to do, let's just say 50 for right now. And then we can do this 0 and 70. Let's how big is our border? I don't know how big our border is. It's fine. It's fine. And then let's just go transparent. Okay, so we see our little thing down at the bottom left corner, like we stated, going to the top right, because when you say to top right, it starts at the opposite corner and goes that way. So actually, let's just specify degrees, and we'll say at, well, I think it's actually going to be the same, 260 pixels, from 5 degrees. Right? Ooh, I might have to look up the syntax. It is... I can specify the position, right? If not, I can do it afterwards if I can't remember this. Alright. Let's just specify the degrees. Okay. 45 degrees looks good. And then we can hit a 0, comma, and no, this is the position. I do want this 90 pixels by 260 pixels. Hey, there we go. All right. Oh, we don't actually want transparent. We want to move it up a little bit more too. So it's going to be 220 by 110. Something like that. Okay. And then we don't want transparent, we actually do need blue. Okay, looking much better. Let's step this out to the proper length. 95, 96, 95, 94. Ooh, okay. And this one would be 64, 65. Ooh, I'm gonna go with that. If we get 99.9%, we'll know why. Why is that blue disappeared? Okay, what if we say 200 pixels? No. Where did our conic gradient go? When it was transparent, I could see it. That's an interesting problem. Okay. I mean, what we can do here is say no repeat. There we go. But where'd it go? Right? Like, what the heck, man? Why is just that disappearing? Okay, okay, I can figure this out. I can figure this out, I believe. Okay, before this, we have that. It's covering everything because we are doing that blue color for the rest of it. So when we change that to transparent, we see our blue square, and then when we move it into place, okay, we still have that blue square. All right. So this all still works. But what I need to do maybe the linear gradient just needs to be in the body, and then I can margin it down. I think that's what we need. Yeah. Alright. Get another element here, and that'll make life easier. Alright. There we go. Life is already much better. And then let's go back to this blue color. And it will, yeah, fill the space like we want. Alright, so top and bottom are 40. Left and right are like 90. 10. 120. Alright. So right is actually not 120. It's going to be it's going to be 90 on the right. Bottom is going to be like 60, 70, and this is 110. Okay. Let's just see how far off we are. No? Yes? Please? Will I find out? Did my Wi-Fi drop? Oh, we're good. 99.9. Yeah, that's what I expect. But I have a feeling like 95, and I feel like these round numbers don't look better. Okay. No, that one's definitely 40. 90. Oh, I don't think I need that anymore. It's that line right there. Yeah. I mean, that looks better. It looks better. Alright, I think 121 is too far. That's too far. 4, 3. No. That's the point where it changes, and that doesn't seem right. But what if we do it at that point and we say 95? Okay. 63? Yeah, that doesn't even look right. But you know what? There are times I really think a linear gradient is the way to go. Okay. Let's change you back down to 120. You need to be 64.5. I wonder if it's just not liking the gradient. It might not like the gradient. 99.9. Okay, the bottom one. 69. 70. 71. That's too far. 70. 9.5. Subpixel unhappiness. 99.7. I might have to give up because I'm pretty sure I'm already pushing my time box. Yeah, and I don't like to spend more than 15 minutes, and I've been doing that all week. And it's just, this is fun, but it's not critical. Okay. If I were to do this differently, how would I fix this? Because I think the gradient is not happy, and I'd have to chase something really different. You know what? Let's actually, because I have nothing to lose at this point, let's try Q. That looks pretty good. $68, $69, oh, $68 seems pretty good. If I were to do this differently, I mean, I'd want to do a gradient. I mean, we could do borders. We could do borders, and you could rotate something, 45 degrees, and then just mask it with one above it, 99.9. This is real killer. I wonder if it's my conic gradient, Like, what if it has the issue? 260. What is that in viewport units? It's 400 wide. If 20 is 5, then that's 13 20s. So 13 times 5? That doesn't make sense. $200 would be 50. 53 viewport units. Right? Hey, that's not quite right. $63. 65. Well, I can't do math. So if this was 25, not 25, 100 would be 25. So this is, not worth it. But I wonder. Let's hit submit on this. Let's see. Let's see if doing the line that side is what it needs. 99.8. Okay. Well, let's give you the 0.5. And there's no telling which little line on this diff is actually the problem. I don't know. I've moved them around. They're very faint. A lot of times that much of a line is not an issue. Alright. Wow, how did I guess the Q value right? I think something about my gradient solution just it doesn't like. So, okay. Again, I failed. Failed again. Oh well. Borders. Just do borders. Because you can set your border width in the shorthand. And so this could just be one element with a border. You do the solid background of blue on the HTML, and then the body is going to be the yellow background with the same blue border, maybe an overflow hidden on it, and then it just gets rotated and shoved down. Right? This should work. That should work. And then they would probably be happier with that than what I did with the gradients. Alright, that's all. Bye.